if you own one of these, chances are it runs terrible or doesn't run at all. Don't worry, in this video, I'm gonna go over some common breakdowns and how to repair them. Stick around. All right, firstly, guys, I'm not here to, diss or do anything bad, talk bad about anybody, any company. I'm not sponsored. This is my own personal experience and my own opinions. So I'm going to start by saying I am not a fan of this particular brand of weed trimmer. In my opinion, if you wanted an entry-level machine, I go buy the entry-level still. They run great out of the box. But that put aside, we have this in front of us. They are super light. They are really nice to operate when they run, but they don't always run for a long period of time. And I want to show you what's wrong with this one because it is super common. So on this side, we've got your two fuel lines coming in. And if we open up the fuel cap, you're going to see immediately that if I dump this out, there's no gas in it. However, if it wants to come out, anyways, you can hear that rattle. That is the fuel pickup that is stuck in the bottom, and the line has rotten right off. Check it out. It's just, I'm not even going to pull very hard. It's just broken flush right there. So it's not picking up any fuel. And these lines are very small. It's very common for these to rot right there. And then the fuel pickup falls to the bottom. You're not going to get fuel into the engine. And of course, without fuel, it won't run. So let's start by tackling that. And this thing smells terrible because it's been sitting for a long time. So we're probably going to end up having to clean the carb as well. But before I go too far with that, another common failure point is these caps. So these caps have this little valve inside, so it allows air to come in and not out because these tanks are pressurized. I'll go over that in a minute when we start cleaning the carburetor. But let's just get started by ripping it apart. So after you've removed your piece of foam, which is considered an air filter on this machine, you can then remove these two screws that are self-tapping into the engine. Again, not my favorite thing, but it works. And then we'll get to the carb. So here we have the carburetor. Nothing too complicated on these things. You got your little choke plate. We're going to give it a quick wash before I open it all up, and then we'll dismantle it. I'm also going to wash this cap because it's pretty nasty. Then see what it looks like inside. Hopefully, crossing my fingers, it's pretty clean and we don't have to worry about it. This is the old filter, by the way, guys. It's pretty saturated. It's not very clean. So I purchased some more tiny fuel line. These are the two sizes I needed, and a fuel pickup. I think it totaled like $12, $14 or something like that. Not an expensive repair. I didn't get a carb kit though. I'm hoping I don't need one. If you add a carb kit to it, it's probably an extra $30, $35. Still not too expensive to repair something. However, these things are not expensive to begin with. So, how much, if you're doing it yourself, probably worth it. If you bring it into a shop, that's why these are priced the way they are. Kind of disposable in my opinion. So, all right, anyways, let's get this cleaned up and we'll open it up. All right, so the carb's clean on the outside. I just like to clean the outside of the carburetors when I'm about to open them up, and that just prevents any kind of debris making its way inside, right? And if we just split this apart, so far it doesn't look too bad. The primer ball is discolored, however, it'd probably still work for a little while. I'm okay with that. Discolored because of the fuel mixture with the oil. But, oh, look at that right away. So this is where your fuel comes in, and it's full of dirt. Let me get a little screwdriver and show you. So this little screen here, as you can tell, is just completely filled with dirt, and it's good. I would rather have it here than stuck inside some of these orifices of the carburetor because they're very, very small. So we're going to clean this out. In the kit, they give you more of these filters. You can pull them out, press them in. Not the easiest thing to do, but sometimes worth it. Let's see what the bottom here looks like. Okay, so under here we're going to have our needle, and we're going to see, you want to make sure you don't tear this diaphragm, because this is what opens and closes your needle and allows the amount of fuel you need. Is basically your fuel bowl, essentially. Kind of, yeah, so probably the best way to describe it as your fuel bowl. All right, this is looking okay. It's not too crispy. That's the other thing. If this diaphragm here becomes very crispy, like you'll hear it like crinkle, you might want to replace it because it won't pump as much fuel as it should. Because like I was saying, that's what controls this little dimple in the center here. Hits the center lever, which opens up the needle, allows a little bit of fuel in, and then the cycle continues as that piston goes up and down with the pulses. So I don't actually see nothing too badly in here. Like, it doesn't look that bad. Doesn't seem to be plugged up or gummed up with anything. So I'm going to say we're going to put some new lines in and give it a shot. So we're going to go ahead and put on these fuel lines now. But before we do so, right hand corner down below of your screen, yeah, it's right there. You see my logo, right? Do me a favor, click subscribe on that, because I risk really getting in trouble from other small engine mechanics telling you this trick, because it's a simple trick. However, this is what they do every day when they're working on these things, and that's how they make their money. So do me a favor, you got that clicked up, awesome, perfect. Let's move on. What you're gonna need, is you're gonna need your fuel lines, and I always buy more because unfortunately some of this is gonna become sacrificial. And then you're gonna need a razor blade or something that you can cut it, and you want to be kind of precise with this. So if I get my camera person, hold on, I'm gonna move this way, to take a, don't move now, to take a good look at these two holes right here, okay? So you'll notice that there's two different size holes, the larger one on this one, this is the smaller one. Now, what I have seen in the past, where people get frustrated trying to get these lines in, so they go ahead, they remove the tank, because it's really not that difficult to do, and then they open up the holes, and then it's like throwing the whole line like a hot dog down a hallway. You don't want that. You want these lines to go in really tightly in the tank, because remember when I said these tanks are a little bit pressurized? Well, when you hit the primer ball, right, the small line puts a little bit of air into the tank, and what that does is the pressure pushes the fuel up the larger line, which makes its way into the primer ball, priming the whole system, and then as you continue, that pressure builds, and then as it's running, that pressure maintains itself. So that is how that works. And if you don't have a tight fit between the two lines, and that air is just bleeding out, you will never have a proper running engine. Not to mention you're gonna have a mess all over the place. Then you can try and seal it with anything, and everything, it just doesn't work. So here's the trick. Now, after that lengthy talk, the trick is you take the end of the line, you take your razor blade, and I want you to cut it very carefully without cutting yourself lengthwise for a long ways. It's a little bit hard to do. You want to cut it lengthwise against this way. So I'm going to try and do this without cutting myself, because it's been a little while since I've done this type of machine. So I would say try and go at least 2 inches. And you're going to take the whole other half off. Sometimes you can do this with a pair of scissors or a pair of cutters. I find a sharp razor blade, which this one is not super sharp, works best. but a sharp razor blade works really nice. This one's doing the job, just taking a little bit more time than I was hoping. There you go, just like that. So I've just taken a nice chunk out of that line, made it thinner, and it collapses on itself. Now watch this. So this is the smaller one, so it goes into the smaller hole. And then it's going to fit through like that. And with your pliers, you're going to reach down in here, you're going to grab the line and pull it through just like so. I mean, this stuff is like spaghetti sized. Come on, guys. So the small one doesn't have to go down to the bottom as long as it's into the tank. The longer one, you want it to sit somewhere along down here so that it picks up all a little bit of fuel. But that is it. That's the trick. This is a huge repair that I see all the time that some of these companies charge way too much for. So save yourself a few bucks. You just learned a nice trick. We're going to do that to both lines, and then we're going to throw the filter on the other one, of course. Throw a little bit of gas in it. Cross our fingers that this works, because I haven't checked for spark either. And yeah, so give me a few minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, so my camera person was watching me do the second one and mentioned, listen, you didn't talk about having to trim that other end so you can put on the primer ball. Well, yes, of course. You just made that line really thin. You sliced half of it, cut it off. Now I have this approximately where I want to. Put your fuel pickup on there. Drop it into the tank. And then make your connections at the carburetor. And then we'll go from there. All right, any more questions?
No.
No? All right. No, it's a good one though, because I might have forgotten to say that. The viewers will like it. We got some fuel inside the tank. We're going to give this a nice prime. So, oh, that's another common question I get. How many times do you prime the ball? So all of these, if you look at the starting instruction here, it'll tell you, what is it here? If I can find it. 6 times on this one. Now, here's what I do. So when the ball is empty, and it springs back super easy, and there's no fuel in it, I don't care if you went 6 times, it's still not primed. What you need to do is you go 6 times from the time that the ball is full. And I usually get way better results in that case. So right now, the last prime actually filled up the ball, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now this one here to switch spring loaded to on, I do like that, can't mess it up. But one thing I don't like though is when you turn these cranks, there's no clutch in between, so they're completely connected. So when you go to start these, it's kind of dangerous where right away the end is turning. So I'm going to watch out for that here. See if I can get this going without ripping out my shoulder, because normally these things are not easy. Oh, and I forgot my choke. Choke is not on. Oh, so it kicked, half choke. Again, immediately, as soon as you hear it kick, go to half choke. Come on, girl. It's alive. It's actually going to work. Did you? You didn't think it was going to start, eh? I didn't think so either.
It's just when it started, it scared me so much.
You good now? All right. Okay, I'm going to try it again, okay? Come on. The idle might be a little bit low, so I'm going to hold the throttle. Come on. I know you want to. Okay, so I'm going to definitely have to play around with the mixture screws, but it works. So guys, going to be a short video. However, I was able to show you guys one of the top tricks and one of the few little repairs that you're going to have to do on these things. There is a few, like I said, the cap is one of them. Those lines are always a problem. That's the first thing you should check. And then followed by, of course, a spark plug. I mean, on these ones, every machine is a little bit different. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys are having a great, awesome day, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.